Welcome to this session, which is about new ways of working. I have the privilege of being the only man on the stage with these three women, and I think this is a message for our session as well. I will introduce them in a few minutes, in a few moments. Something about myself. So my name is Gerardo De Lutzenberger. I'm Italian. I'm part of what we call the hosting team. So this kind of participatory session we work at with Sabine, which is over there. Sabine Gresser-Söder. She's harvesting our conversation. This is not the first panel we run at the Assembly about the new ways of working. Actually, we started in 2020. And you can see behind me the harvesting of the first session was called, at that time, the New Workspace. We were in the middle of the pandemic, 2020. So a lot of talks about, of course, pandemic, technological advancement, working spaces, and health. Okay, 2021, we were talking more about, as you see, regulations, right, things that you can see highlighted there, the care of people, trust, and of course, agility was the topic. Last year in Prague, we had a session that was more about the permanent crisis we are living in these years and the digital competencies, upskilling the competencies of worker and of course of artificial intelligence. Okay. This year, the topic of this year, it's a bit different. I was a little bit surprised when I saw the topic itself at the beginning because it's about the 4 days week. So the idea is let's talk about the reduction of the working time along the week. 4 days, and this means also 3 days in the office and maybe 1 day at home, or of course flexible standards in working and of course new legislation and pilot programs and all these sort of things. And I have next to me 3 panelists. Yeah, so the first one, it's Giulia Barbucci. She's Italian, so I pronounce, probably it's the best pronunciation I can make for an Italian, being an Italian. So she has been, and I guess is still a member of one of the largest, if not the largest actually, trade union, Italian trade union. It's called the CGIL, C-G-I-L. And she has a long experience also at the international level as a member of for example, of the Executive Committee of the European Trade Union Confederation, but she has also had several other important roles at European level. I really invite you, I just give you a few words about these speakers. On the app, you can see their profile, and I really invite you to check their profile, which is more comprehensive over there. Then we have Orla Kelly here. She's from the University College of Dublin, so she's a professor, and she works a lot on the social dimension of climate change in some way, okay? Which is, of course, I guess, related also to the where do you work, what you do, etc. And she has a PhD in environmental sociology. And then we have Maitane Relkate.
Maitane Recalde.
Maitane Recalde. And she's the head of Circular Economy Services in her
head of
company.
Services.
And she's what is interesting for them is that they are testing the 4 days week, no? So as part of your circular economy approach. So that's in some way, no?
Yes, part of the whole company,
okay,
not
you will
just
tell
the
us, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it. And the very last thing is that, as you know, this is a participatory session. And the idea, don't be scared by me now, but I mean, the idea is that you listen to what they will be talking us, to the speech, in a more active way than usual, okay? And this is what I invite you to do. So some of the tables will listen to in the perspective of the workers. So what workers, what emerge about, not you? Why not? Why not?
Because we're employers' representatives.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It does.
You can, we have several workers' tables, okay? Don't worry. And we may have others. Another big important thing is productivity, okay? What's the impact of these things on productivity? And you can talk about that. So basically you listen to what they say and you try to harvest what emerge about productivity, about workers and working conditions, okay? And we have another productivity here. And then the other one, it's the perspective of the managers, management. What is meaning this for managers and management? And it doesn't matter if you are not a manager or you are a worker, okay? The idea is just that you listen in that perspective. Is there any other table missing? So,
Yes, we have.
Workers here, okay? Okay, so this is it. And right after, so listen, trying to catch especially what emerge for your keyword. The keyword you have on the table. After their speech, you will have some time to talk with the people at your table. You can even move a little bit if you like, and just together see what is emerging, and then we will hang you the microphone and you will tell us what you are seeing in that moment, okay? So this is it, and so the first person is Julia. Julia, this is also, if you have slides. No, you have slides, you told me. Okay, so over to you.
So first of all, I would like to thank you for this kind invitation. And I would like to start underlying an element which is really important. That is to say, from the first industrial revolution onwards, the trend has been to progressively reduce the working time. And this has started in the mid-19th century and has finished, if I can say like that, towards the 70s of the last century. So this trend stopped at a global level. We know that there has always been a close relationship between the organization of working time and technological innovation, but at the same time, different studies and figures showed that sometimes shorter working time has meant, in some cases, also intensification of the rhythm of the work and also of the duration of work performance. So this tendency, as I was telling you, stopped towards the 70s and 80s of the last century. But the question is why? So many say that it depends because of the link between productivity and the increases of wages. And this link has interrupted towards the end of the 70s, where a gap between productivity and profit, of course, and the increases of wages, as this gap has opened at a global level. So this means, in a few words, that economy and, of course, also the distribution of the results of economy had changed from that moment on, and I can say maybe with less attention to the social and to the social, to equity in some words. So, and this is really clearly when we think about precarious jobs which have longer hours and also low wages. And but the pandemic, which struck suddenly in our lives, showed that it is still possible to change the way we work. Of course, the pandemic has caused a big change in the way we work, in particular with the remote working methods. But of course, the remote working, if it has some benefits, if we think, for example, at gender or the gender issue or the planet expectations, it has also created big problems. If we think, for example, to the occupational health and safety, the problem that there is no effective line between professional and private life, and also, for example, a very important aspect, which is the issue of the right to disconnect. And I don't know if you are aware of the fact that there was a negotiation during this time at European level between the social partners at European level. Unfortunately, this agreement on telework and the right to disconnect has failed. So we have to ask ourselves why in a period in which we are facing transitions, so green transition and digital transitions, but also a time of technology and innovation, the social partners had failed towards this issue. So I think that the green and digital innovation and transformation could be an occasion to reopen the debate on working time reduction, but this should be done by consensus. And I think that, for example, the SMEs are really well placed, because there should be a kind of pact between the employers and workers. They are both interested in the production, but at the same time they are also interested in introducing the new technologies, and this can be done only by introducing new skills, which are very important, in particular if we think about the green and the digital skills. So this pact, I think, should be done in some cases at a different level. For example, we can do it at the level of the company, at territorial level, at national, European, but even at global level. Mm-hmm. And as I was saying, it has to be done between the workers and the employers, and in some cases, of course, also with the presence of the government, because we have also many different cases in which we can, of course, have some kind of facilities that can be put by the different governments. And this is also important not only for the reduction of the working time, it is also important to have more flexibility. And this flexibility also can be, in a way, decided together, because in a large company it is more difficult for the workers, for example, to get a direct contact and touch with the employers. So this can be done, of course, together.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Orla, over to you.
Great. I have slides.
Yes, and you have the power.
I have the power. Great, as it should be. Okay, so I am going to try to be quick. I've been told we have 4 minutes. So even for a very fast-talking Irish woman, that's difficult. So I'll refer you to the report at the end of this. As I said, I'm from University College Dublin. I'm a co-investigator in the 4-day week global trials, which are these trials that have been implemented, organizations self-selected into, and they were interested in trialing a reduced work time. So we have close to 200 organizations that have trialed it now. A couple of thousand, 3,000 or so employees. The numbers that are going in are increasing all the time. So these are trials that are coordinated by the non-profit 4-day week global, and they are based on this 100-80-100 model, whereby the organizations say to their employees, okay, hey, guess what? We are thinking of trialing this reduced work time model. The deal is that you have to commit to continuing to meet 100% of our organizational goals in 80% of the time with, and here's the important part, 100% of the pay. And the idea of this model of reduced work time as opposed to other ones is that it gets at the social as well as, when you offer a reduced work time program that is associated with reduction of pay, those who can't afford the reduction pay don't benefit from them. Women tend to be the ones who self-select into it, which kind of recreates this kind of hindering effects on their career. So there's an equity piece to this for the 180-100 model. So the first trial was in Ireland, the first 12 companies, and there was 4 in the US. And since large trials have been coordinated, UCD is collaborating. The main institution is Boston College. They've been coordinating it in Canada, the US. Now there's trials starting in South Africa and other places. So just to give you a sense, that pie chart on the top right-hand corner there, they're mainly office-based workers. So there is some level of selection bias into this in terms of the kinds of organizations that are interested in trialing this. So there is a handful of manufacturing companies, a large portion of nonprofits. So very pertinent for this SME-based event. The majority of the companies who are doing this are small to medium enterprises. So the first 2 bars there, 30, and I forgot my glasses, so I'm struggling to get the exact there, but so forgive me. About 40% are less than 10 employees, and then 10 to 20 employees as an additional 30%. So the vast majority are small to medium enterprises here. This isn't to say that larger enterprises aren't trialing this, but generally they kind of have the in-house expertise to kind of monitor it themselves, whereas 4-day week global tends to kind of do some hand-holding in terms of work re-optimization, and then we provide the research support in terms of productivity, environmental outcomes, social outcomes. Okay, so key takeaways: the vast majority of the organizations that have implemented this continue to stay at the reduced work time model. This is going by itself. Even after the trial ends. So 91% of the organizations that responded say that they are going to continue. The organizations, for those who gave us the metrics in terms of productivity or other outcomes, they generally see a gain in productivity. To Julia's point, we actually looked at work intensity. And we didn't see, there is about 20% of the companies, of the employees that did report some level of work intensification. But for the most part, the big gain that employees were able to make was what we call the kind of work reorganization. So there's a qualitative and quantitative piece to this research. We have surveys, but we also interview managers in each country, and I interviewed the managers in Ireland. And they talked a lot about engaging in workplace work reorganization, work optimization. And a way to think about this is these organizations think of, okay, what changes do we want? They work very closely with the employees themselves, who have a vested interest in trying to find these time savings, because who wants to go back to a 5-day week when you've had a 4-day week, right? So there's this very collaborative kind of effort to work together to find ways to make work optimization, work more optimized. And some of our employers talked about, maybe they wanted to introduce technologies or different things that some workers were reluctant to do so. But coupled with the prospect of reduced work time, they were saying, okay, they kind of got over the inertia of, well, this is always the way we've done things. So very collaborative. The organizations that were most successful were the ones who sat down with their employees at the start and said, okay, how can we do this together? How can we reorganize work? You guys are doing this every day. How do we reorganize to make this more effective? Unsurprisingly, the gains in well-being that we saw in employees were really something else. I've been doing research on lots of eco-social policies, so that's policies that are good for people and environment. That's where the environment comes in. And the 4-day week, this has been really the most significant level of results, consistent research results I've really ever seen. The correlation, the relationship between the time off and levels of well-being employees, levels of sleep deprivation going away, work-life balance, people reporting better work-life balance, all of these things went up. People are spending their day off. We also did a time use diary on the day off with these, I'm just done, a couple of thousands of employees, and they're doing their hobbies, they're sleeping, taking care of kids. Some of the employees I talked about, the time to adult, in US terms, like just life admin, going to the doctor and so on. And this also feeds into the productivity piece, because when people are in work, then they're able to focus on work. They're not thinking about, oh God, I have to go for a dentist appointment or so on. They're able to do the parts of life that is modern life and is very difficult to balance when you have two maybe working parents or in a family unit. People can prioritize that on the 5th day. So I look forward to, that's a whistle-stop tour of it all. If you're interested, you should go to 4-day. We have academic papers in the works, but for a policy perspective, 4dayweek.com, we have kind of highlights of our results in that. So a lot of the kind of graphs that I put are from that. And I look forward to talking to you more about it in the session. Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. Well, as I've been introduced, I'm Maitane Recalde. It's loud. I'm the head of the Circular Services at Ingreen, and I'm going to talk about our experience with a 4-day work week. I work on Ingreen. It's an SME dedicated to the engineer and consulting services for the construction sector since 2017. Our team has 22 people. The 30% of us are women. Our headquarters are here in Bilbao, and we also have presence in Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, and Sevilla. Our mission is clear at Ingreen. Another construction is not only possible, but necessary, and we play a vital role within the transformation of the sector through our work in sustainability and digitalization. We integrate strategies of the BMI methodology for the public administration, and we also bring sustainability into decision-making processes with life cycle assessment, carbon footprint, and circular strategies for the construction sector. This is what we do, but we also care about how we do things. We are a sensitive organization who wants to make things differently and wants to prove that competitivity and sensibility can complement each other. So we have flexible work arrangements during working hours and also during teleworking. We take care about the well-being of our team, and we are part of the Spanish National Network of Healthy Companies and also the Vizcaya and Dembora network. We promote the project self-management of our team so they can build trust and also promote their talent, and we promote the work-life balance. That's how the 4-day work week started in our organization. So this initiative is a top-down initiative proposed by the CEO of the company. The idea started in 2022, and the first pilot has started on January of this year. It was signed for 6 months. It has been extended another 6 months, and we are planning to continue with it in 2024. It consists of working from Monday to Thursday, 9 hours a day. We came from working 14 hours, so it is a reduction for us. This is without any salary reduction, and we also have flexibility measurements that allow our team to plan and distribute their 36 hours during the week as with their needs. In addition, the company promotes 1 Friday a month of voluntary commitment aligned with our CSR, with local NGOs. Another thing that we want to mention is that this is a self-promoted initiative without any external support, no public or private. And as our incomes rely on our worked hours, this is a challenge for us because we don't have any salary reduction. The major challenges we face is that we have to stay competitive in order to keep giving innovative and high-quality service to our customers in fewer hours than our competitors, and also trying to transform our customers with what urgency means with our no Friday approach, as we don't go work on Fridays. But the key approach is to transform our challenges into opportunity. We have to take the 10% of reduction to push us up to follow the work better to work less initiative. So strategies to make our work hours are required, and we try to focus on the tasks that add more value to our customers, and also we use innovation to promote the efficiency or the productivity of the organization. We do that introducing the project management through objective-based approach, and also using the technology. And we want to mention also that the 4-day work week is a very useful tool to attract and retain talent. And to sum up, the last thing that we want to say is that for the next year, the prospects are very good. We have our budget estimate that is going to, we are going to have a 35% more projects next year, and also our team is going to grow. So it looks pretty good. So this is our experience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, so over to you. Take some time at your table. Let's say 10 minutes. What is emerging for you about the keywords you're on the table? Is there anything you would like to ask to our panelists? So take some time just to go through your ideas, share your ideas, discuss a little bit, and then I will hand over the microphone to you. Okay? So, please, yeah. So let's see what is coming out from your conversation, and if you have any insight or question or comment on what you have heard. So let's start from productivity, please.
Hi, and we will try to be productive in this.
You will be very productive.
We will try, as it is a try. So thank you, ladies, for sharing the 3 perspectives. It was really interesting. And we had a conversation with my colleague, and one of the things that, I'm wondering, and we are wondering, okay, we are decreasing the time that we spend at work. What we are cutting off? And here I'm thinking, is this the social thing between people, you know, the coffee in the kitchen or the longer lunch, or is this the learning process that is happening at work, being a training, being a reflection on the things that I have done? It's just it's not a question, it's a conversation in my head, because if we are achieving the same goals with 80% of the time, something should also change, like in the system, you know. So it will be really interesting you to share probably from the surveys, there is probably such kind of data. And another, it's not a question, it's more about, again, a comment or something that we were discussing, that it's not about only the 40 hours per week, it's about the goals to be achieved, you know. And this is the conversation, at least what I'm seeing that is happening in the organizations. And this will be the future, I think, in terms of working, you know, the employers to be more understanding about the basic human and people needs. I'm finishing.
Yeah.
But also the people to strive and to deliver what it is expected from them. Sorry for that.
No, sorry for me, but I'm considering the time. So anything else completely different maybe on productivity? You're workers, so I will come to you soon. Is there anything which is about productivity that is emerging from your reflection?
Hello. I think, well, we've been discussing a bit about that, and there's a key word which is consensus, which has to be brought into the table on how this productivity gain is reached. So it has to be done with a consensus of what the employer takes or brings to the table and what the employees bring to the table. And when this is done in a consensus form, this can be achieved. I think that's the point.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I forgot one very important thing is that when you have the microphone, you need to stand, because we are streaming the conversation, and the camera will not take you if you are not standing. So, yes.
So I'm lucky.
Yeah.
We have the following remarks, issues. I believe that it's not always easy to quantify objectives in an organization. So to keep track of objectives from one side and hours spent is not so easy. And we are wondering also what will be the effect in the long run, because I do believe that when you sit together with your employees and you talk about this issue and the possibility to work less, but to do the same, to obtain the same goals, then of course there will be a big motivation and a big focus on it. And as long as this motivation and focus is there, this project is alive, then it will work. But I'm wondering, after a couple of years, when the focus is no longer there, the people are used to it, then I can imagine that again, within the organization, there will grow some inefficiencies, and you will lose what you have won.
Thank you. So I will move now to workers. So we just harvest a little bit. Maybe you need to take some. No, I don't know. If you want, you can take my paper over there and my pen. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to stand. Okay.
Just one shot of mic. Thank you, Christa Schwenk. Well, first of all, we think an agreement between employer and employees is really the most important condition that you can have. But we believe also that this agreement can only be taken at the company level. No way to do it at the sectoral level, no way to do it at European level, and no way to do it at global level. That's from our perspective. What we also felt is the questions that we had when it comes to a day off, like the Friday, no work on Friday, If everybody does that, where can I go then to the dentist if he's also having his Friday off? And who bakes my bread when Fridays are all off and closed? So for me, for us, this was a big question mark. Another point was the work intensity, and this is a little bit linked to what you have just raised. If you have a lack of skilled workforce, which we experience, I think, all over Europe right now, what happens then to the salaries? Can they really stay the same, or do they need to decrease because the companies need to employ more people, which they don't have on the labor market? And then in the end, what we said is what is important is, or more important, is flexible working time, so you can have a certain degree of autonomy to really decide yourself when you need some time off, or you can do that, of course, in agreement with your employer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else from the workers' perspective? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your lecture and information on this topic. We figured out that we question ourselves, how does it align with not having the right to disconnect and having a 4-day week? So if I'm at home and have a day off, will the people still try to reach me? And can we consider it a day off then, or 4-day work week?
Thank you. Let's go to the manager perspective then. Anything from the management side? No? Yes. The voluntold. We call him a voluntold, more than just a volunteer. You need to stand.
Yes, of course. Good afternoon. My name is Dana Redford, PEEP Portugal. We were talking about something that my esteemed colleague has mentioned here, the Hawthorne effect, which is the fact that these people are actually changing because they are being studied. So because they're under this microscope, they are being more effective, and we're also worried that we appreciate it could potentially be more creativity, but we want 100% payment for 100% work or more work. So these are some of our perspectives, and we'll welcome the opportunity, I guess, to also question some of our operational systems and review other aspects of how our management is being performed. But we're interested in hearing more of your responses. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for management? No? So it looks like there are really a lot of question marks rising from people, including myself, I must say, no? So how you can combine these things. So who would like to start?
I don't mind.
Maybe I...
From who's...
Yes.
Okay.
You would like to start? I mean, we can change the order, by the way.
Yes, okay. Maybe you can start, or...
From, for example, the thing you said that if everything is closed on Fridays, it doesn't have to be on Fridays. It always depends on the type of work of the sector. Not all the people can do Fridays. You can try to organize, and some people maybe can do Mondays off, or some part of the organization can have Mondays, other Fridays. It's a way of talking with all the people, so the people can have 4-day work week. It doesn't have to be always on Fridays, so you can keep providing services. That's one of the questions I have in mind. Another one, I don't know which one would be.
Consensus.
Yeah, consensus is for sure. It is required. If not, it doesn't work.
Flexible work time.
Yeah, we have flexible work. As I said, we can organize as we want. So, of course, you always have to have some time of rest during journeys and so. But it is key too, because that, as we said, I said, is, and also Orla said, if you do it yourself and you have the own of your time, you can do things better. And I don't want to be thinking on Fridays what I haven't done during the time. And if I have to, yes, sorry, yes.
Yeah, one important point, at least to me, was also this one. When you reduce the working time, what are you really reducing? So if it's the learning time, the social time you have at work, so what are you in some way, if you are doing the same, you are reaching the same objective in less time, no? What is there anything you are losing in some way? That's at least what I got. And on the other side, if you agree on some objectives and after some times, it's like you relax, no? That was the point. So you, after 2 years at the beginning, you are very committed because you see the benefit you are receiving. After some time, maybe things changes, no? So this big thing, and yeah.
I would like to.
Yeah, go.
Okay, so a couple of things on productivity. Yes, organizational goal, we work in a knowledge economy now. And if we look at kind of the organizations that opted into this, in particular, many of them are office-based jobs. Organizational studies have shown people don't sit down at a desk and are 100% productive all of the time. Come on, like we've all been there. You know,
we all know. We all know,
okay? The elephant's out of the room or whatever. So the idea is people have extra time, so they're able to clear the admin burden of life on that day off. So you're less likely to be distracted within that time. So that's some of the stuff that's going in the organizations that we talk to. So what are they reducing? That seems to be, there's a lot of, again, the companies most effective at this really looked at the processes and how could they make them more effective, what's working, where are they losing time. And again, the employees are incentivized to keep this going. And as you said, this is something in general companies review every 6 months so that this kind of backslide to this previous point is offset a little bit. But sure, you know, I think we can take the Hawthorne effect and the backsliding together. I'm sure there is some level of that, but many of the processes that have been implemented to get to the work reorganization aren't something that they're going to, you know, if you implement a new technology, you're not going to take that technology away. If you found a new way of doing something that works better, if you are the manager or owner of an organization, you're not going to take that back. So that's kind of, and if we think we're in the era of AI, the way people work is changing. And especially if you can kind of take tech and put it to increase productivity. It's Julia's point as well. We've had this gain in productivity, but the workers haven't got that back. So this is a way of giving back to workers some of the gains in productivity that we're going to see, in particular now that AI has advanced. So tech, Hawthorne effect, company level. Sure, these are companies, we're seeing it, I think it's coming from a lot of angles, but companies in this trial for sure were the ones that were putting it in place. Everybody having the Friday off. Many of the companies that we worked with did different parts of, so most of them closed on either a Monday or Friday, it's on that slide, but some didn't. Some had different employees off at different days of the week. Many of the organizations had, say, half the employees off on a Monday, half on a Friday. So there was that element. People were getting a 4-day week, but it varied. Some people depended on what the people were doing. If you were in a client-facing role where there needed to be service delivery at 5 days a week, they did that. Those sections had either a Monday or a Friday off, and then other parts had a Friday off because it was easier to organize. And then my last point, in terms of like flexible working time, the organizations that implemented this were on flexible, many of these trials happened during the pandemic, so they were out of the office, they weren't allowed to travel in, there's all these kinds of things happening. But the idea is the company sits down and talks about how do we, it's almost like a therapy, you know, they sit down and say, okay, what's working well, what's not working well. And part of that is also flexible work. They look at how the organization is functioning as a whole. And there is no policy that's one size fits all. role, right? It's work reorganization, reduce work time, and also where do we do our work from? You know, there's no reason that reduced work time can't work really well with flexible work, because you don't have employees spending loads of time, like 5 days a week, commuting into the office. It's not either or, and it's often set up as this false dichotomy of, oh, we either have reduced work time or we do this other thing, and that's not how it works. In general, is what we
Okay, and so there is one last point, which is right to disconnect, and also how you can move to a different working agreement. No, so part of the comments were about this, and I think probably Julia, you are the best to. I mean, because you mentioned all these things also in your first part
I
of the
think
session.
that we have to change completely our company and company culture, because times have changed. And if we go towards a reduction of the working time, this means that we have to also change the way in which we work. What I mean? I mean that, for example, some of you, and you also already told that we don't have to think about the working time like, okay, I work from 9 to 5 p.m., but I have to work because I have some objectives to reach. Sure. So this has to be changed, because many employers have not this kind of
mindset,
thinking, you know, and giving also more autonomy to the workers, and that's why I was insisting before that this, for me, could be better can be better done in the SMEs.
Okay.
It can be easier because of the direct relationships, the relationship between the workers and the employers. And for what concerns the right to disconnect, if you remember, we raised this issue towards during the pandemic, because people were at home working remotely, and at a certain point what it was really well known was that people was working 24 hours a day. That is to say, I can receive a telephone call at 9 p.m. and this is not good. So the right to disconnect means that whatever kind of, whatever way of you are working, you have to have some limits.
Yeah, sure.
And so it has to be clarified. I just want to finish with something concerning productivity, because we have different cases in companies or in sector where there has been reductions of time, and in these cases you can see that productivity has remained the same, or in some cases it has even increased. So it depends, of course, the way in which you work, what is the attitude of the employers and also of the employees.
Okay, we are really at the end of the session. We have the counter there that is turning red, means that we have to close. Sabine, can you show us your harvesting? I wonder if we can.
Yes, here it is. So I was listening to all of you, and it was super interesting to see the different perspectives from the panel, but also from all of you around what is it? What is this next? And what does it mean? And why do we go? For me, the question is, why do we go to the office? Why do I need to go to the office? And what is my contribution, and why do I work? Yeah, and to have all these cultural background conversation, and how do we work? So I tried to capture it, and happy for additions and feedbacks. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for all your questions and your question marks that are also mine in this moment. There is a lot of learning to do, and the learning curve is quite steep. And I really invite all of you to join us also in the Ideas Lounge, where we want also to find concrete ideas to go in this direction, following the Sarasvati invitation she gave yesterday. No, she said two key things. One is ask, and the other one is co-create. So the idea, let's also continue the conversation around there and maybe make some proposal if you wish. I want to thank Giulia. Giulia Barbucci, Orla Kelly, and Maitane Relcade. Yes. Okay, much more similar to Italian than English. Thank you very much for joining us and for your interesting speech. And